What's going on, guys? Adam Palmer here, the Freelance King, and in this video, we are going to take you through the entire freelance profile creation, from top to bottom. So we're gonna come on here and build a new freelancer together so you can understand where my head's at with what it takes to build a good profile, plus from the perspective of the client, what you're going to want to include on your profile so you can be attractive. Now, the first things first, you're going to want to make your profile compatible with jobs that are rapidly coming down the pipe. So I don't think it's a great idea to, put yourself onto the system as someone that there's only going to be a few jobs that occur every week and everybody's competing for. So I think you need to be serious about what skills you currently have and what skills could you maybe take on that are in demand right now. And for a quick reference, we're right on the home page now, but if you go to scroll all the way down on the home page, this is what you should do before you make a profile. Is check out what are the top skills. What are the trending skills? What are the top skills in the US? And why do I say why that's important? Because most of the clients are from the US. So I think it's always a good idea to click on these and look, okay, accountants in the US. And just because it says accountants doesn't mean that you can't start to think about similar jobs that people looking for these types of people may want. Think bookkeepers, think the platforms that the bookkeeping is done on, think QuickBooks. So you can start to make your mind think about, okay, what are the platforms in demand and can I learn the platforms quickly so I can confidently maybe bid on people looking for bookkeeping? And so they're saying accountants, but they may mean what accountants do. And perhaps there's a way of leveraging that. And you don't need to go for school for a lot of these things. You can just pick up the skills by watching, YouTube. And so you see here, bookkeepers, accountants, people that use Photoshop. I mean, Photoshop is something I talked about, in this community, how that's something I learned 20 years ago, plus that continued to just really help me out throughout the years. And it's just one platform. And it got me many jobs, including one of the first couple jobs that were on this system. So Shopify, this is something you could watch a bunch of videos on Shopify and learn your way around that a lot easier. I mean, WordPress was one of these other early on platforms that I learned. That was a big CMS. Shopify is easier than WordPress to learn, guys. I mean, you don't have to worry about hosting and this and that, but there's templates available. You can learn how to edit it, and companies need these platforms in order to function. So they're willing to pay decent amount. Keep in mind why accountants is important, guys, because a lot of freelancers on the system are also clients themselves and they need people to handle their books and stuff like that. So what are some other jobs that freelancers need help with? Virtual assistants is a big one of those things. Videography. This is something that, again, you can learn how to use a lot of platforms that will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you these days. Most people just need some simple stuff done. Quick editing, making things into shorts, posting the videos, putting subtitles in, things like that, intro, outro videos. You could probably learn how to do this in a couple weeks, and then it can become a passion. Then you can get really good. But a lot of people just need small tasks done, and you can get your foot in the door. Virtual assistants, we just talked about that. Web designers, this is something that has been in demand for years. And again, this is just the US, but we can go back to the top skills. It's the same type of thing. Shopify developer, that may be a little more technical, and you see around the world it's a little more technical and it's probably more competitive. Copywriting is always going to be a big one. So if you're a writer out there, maybe start to make your profile based around conversion and copywriting. It's always going to be an in-demand, kind of freelance skill set. And you see here, a lot of people are very specific about the languages that they code in. That's why when we go into the profile, why it's so important to kind of list out all of the different languages, the platforms, all these different things that are going to help with the Upwork algorithm, with the search, and it's going to help clients identify, will this person be able to help me with what I need? And that's definitely a mindset shift that you have to start to think about, looking at everything from the client's perspective, and am I marketable to that particular client? So check that out, guys. I think that, again, thinking about this stuff sooner rather than later is really going to be important, because you can keep adding skills, but it's nice to have that like baseline. So hopefully you're passionate about something that's in demand. Get on there, make the profile about that thing, and then keep upskilling and adding on, so the things that you can cover become wider and you can bid on more jobs. Okay, so where we are now is we're gonna sign up. We're gonna go through this thing. Sign up. Okay, I am a freelancer looking for work. Okay, so I'm gonna hit that. We're gonna apply as a freelancer. Now, we're just going to go through it normally, but you can obviously connect it with like your Google, your Apple, and we're just going to go in. And I don't know what it's going to do, like if it's going to know that I already have an account. I would say always, if you can, put the United States. I mean, I am American, so send me helpful emails. Not right now. I understand. Okay, I hope I'm not breaking any rules right now. This is me. Okay, let's get you started. So like that, you can get on here. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to publish it, but yeah, because you're only supposed to have one account. Verify your email. Okay, so now it looks like, hey Adam, ready for the next big opportunity. Now again, something to keep in mind is that this is definitely a work in progress, meaning you want to get something up there today, right? Because the goal is to start applying for jobs as soon as possible, but keep coming back to it, because you're going to have some time on your hands. And what you don't want to do is just keep sending proposals and not have your profile really dialed in, because you're just going to be wasting connects. Connects could get really expensive these days. And you really, the best part of your proposal should be your profile. That's what I always say. So, make sure that if you don't get into everything right now, that you keep going back, keep adding to it, keep adding to the portfolio, keep adding to the bio. So when we click into here, this is nothing. This is just to highlight. It's just kind of setting you up. So we get started. I am brand new to this. I have some experience. I am an expert. So this is where I was talking about earlier in a different video, where, there's two, I guess there's three in how they're laying it out, but some people are new to Upwork, and obviously you're new to Upwork if you're filling out a profile form, right? Like you're not going to be an experienced Upworker. So this is mostly everybody in terms of like, I'm new to Upwork. So don't be coerced into thinking you're a noob if you have some type of applicable skill set. And so I think, again, going back to what you're going to be on this system, hopefully you have some experience in the past that you can bring to the table, whether that's through stuff that you did at work, or whether that's stuff that you do as a hobby. For instance, like what I did with the Photoshop. And so because I was really familiar with how to use those platforms, and by the time I got onto the system and I had helped people before, even though I was new to freelancing in a sense, I still came in and said that I was an expert, okay? So I would try to find out how you can call yourself an expert. And everybody can be an expert if they wanted to. You could be an expert in Gmail. You could be an expert in just browsing the web. But I think the idea here is to, if you're not an expert, figure out how to, watch whatever you need to watch to call yourself an expert. Because Upwork at the end of the day wants to make matches happen between freelancers and clients want the best talent possible. The last thing they want to do is lose time. So I would try your best to be an expert in something here. And you really don't want to do I am brand new to this. So at the very least, you want to have some experience. But if you can, call yourself an expert. So now we go into what's your biggest goal for freelancing. Now, it says different people come to Upwork for various reasons. We want to highlight the opportunities that fit your goals best while still showing you all of the possibilities. What again, Upwork's only going to have the information that you give it, and they're going to use their algorithm to best find the right freelancer for that client. That is what they do. So all this data is going in, and the client's going to be posting work, and that job that's being posted should align with the freelancer. But Upwork can only align the job post with the freelancer if they have enough data to go off of. And especially early on, guys, like, it's so important to list it all out because they don't have a lot of the reviews or past work to go off of. They can only go off of the information that they have. So for this, though it sounds like a simple question, they want to know people that are the real deal, right? Like, they don't want weekend warriors. We've gone through this, but they don't want people between jobs. They don't want people that are just kicking tires here. They want motivated individuals that are going to work all around the clock, upskill, and do what needs to be done to make sure that the contract between the client and them goes off without a hitch, and that there was a great job there. That's the goal of everybody here, whether it's the client, whether it's Upwork, whether it's the freelancer. Everybody wants just a good deal, money exchange, happiness, work done. That's it. So what can you tell the system here that's going to help the algorithm in a sense, right? Like, help Upwork know that, like, you're the real deal. So I would avoid to make money on the side, because that sounds like someone that's just very much interested in their side money, their hustle. Like, they have other things going on. This is low in their priority list. It's for money to buy beer, and that's going to tell Upwork this person isn't very serious. So if you're here watching the Freelance Kings videos, like, I hope that at all costs you don't hit this button. I don't want to even talk to people that are just here to make money on the side. I have no interest, because those are the types of people that I've hired before and have totally screwed me over and have disappeared, gone to their work, deal with other things, don't give a crap about me or my project or anything. So the last thing you want to do is to make money on the side, to get experience for a full-time job. Now, there's this proclivity to want to maybe do this because you have been you're still kind of stuck in the matrix and thinking like job security exists, or salaries are more secure than hourly things or project things, and your hope in life is to just get a company, maybe get benefits, healthcare, car, blah, 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 blah. So there is a propensity to want to do this, but I would say, this limits yourself only by being seen by companies kind of interested in that too. And I think that you want to keep as many options open and the filters open as much as possible when clients are posting the positions, and not have a goal in mind. Again, you don't want to be this limp, passive person on the system, because Upwork is chock full of those people. If I post a virtual assistant job, which I think I do in another video here in the community, like, you'll see when I go through these profiles, very just not well thought out profiles, because they just don't care, or maybe they don't know how important it is, or very lackluster and missing a lot of information. And the last thing that Upwork wants are these types of people, because it's very difficult to make a deal online and get a stranger to give you money and have them confident in the fact that you're going to get the job done. Like, it takes a lot of work, and that's why we're going through this. And they just don't want people that are not going to be able to confidently make these deals happen. It's just taking space. They're probably not even sending proposals. They're sending bad proposals. Their profile doesn't make their services attractive in any way, shape, or form. So the one that you want to click is to earn my main income. You want to burn the boats that got you here in the first place. You want to harness the skills that you've learned from past endeavors and work. You want to bring it here to the table and you want to cash in on one of the biggest opportunities that's ever existed for work. I mean, when in the history of events or time has it ever been normal for companies in a whole different city from wherever across the world to be paying a stranger that they just met for work that person's doing in some other region of the world over the computer, and have the whole thing above board and managed where you don't even have to send out billing invoices? I mean, if you're on the fence still, again, like maybe you're not part of, like maybe you shouldn't even be here to begin with, because you should be clicking this to earn my main income. You're not interested in getting a salary job. You're not interested in making money on the side, and you are interested in having a goal. You should be wanting to become the next freelance king or queen, right? So to earn my main income, you want to come in heavy, right? And how would you like to work? Everybody works in different ways, so we have different ways to helping you win work. You can select multiple preferences now and can always change it later. So this is where it's going to kind of push for whether you just have a standard profile on the system, and then whether you have a standard profile on the system in addition to having productized offerings. So they call this the project catalog, and what you're going to be doing is having these kind of prefabricated projects, and maybe they have like on an average like an hourly thing, like, you know, maybe that package would take you 3 or 4 hours, but basically it's laying out some of your offerings. And this is maybe for some of the more advanced users, but again, we're trying to teach kings and queens here. So I would definitely start to think about productizing your offerings, because I got news for you. A lot of my inquiries come through the project catalog, because they'll see the project catalog, they'll envision what that package looks like, and then they'll want to get more information. So they'll message me. I'm really expensive generally. So I think on the lower tier side, like let's say, okay, I can do this thumbnail, or I can do this landing page for a specific price of like say 40, 50 bucks. I think that people can sell a lot there. It's kind of like a little more Fiverr model, but Upwork has been able to fuse both what's been great about Upwork, which is the hourly contracts and the milestone stuff and the self-management, but they've also incorporated these productized offerings. So I think you want to start out first probably with like a solid Premier profile, and then keep adding the project catalogs, because there's only so much you can do early on. Like there's a lot to do here within the profile. So you just want to make sure that you do get your good foundation first, so you don't sacrifice that for spending a lot of time building the project catalog. But ultimately, this is a great idea, guys, for just getting your offerings out there so it can be organized, it can be searched, it can be found. Clients know exactly what you do. It's almost better than a portfolio, because you can put a lot of artwork within here. You can talk about things. You can put a frequently asked question. There's a lot of stuff you can get out there. And remember, every single part of these things is searchable in the mind of the algorithm. So the more data you put out, the more Upwork's going to know, the more they can reference you when clients are posting jobs. And again, something you just need to realize fundamentally when it comes to Upwork is that most of the work happens because clients post jobs specifically, and then they either invite or freelancers bid on this. So that's like kind of the whole flow from a project posting perspective, but it's something that a lot of freelancers probably don't even understand the way that process works, because everything should be focused on the client's perspective. And every client's different, but there are patterns. And so that's what we're gonna talk about. So I think first things first, we do want to click both of these. Whether you get crazy right now with building a project catalog, I would recommend pause on that, think it through, and invest in making it look attractive. And this is a little pro tip. But if you really want to excel, guys, on this platform, I highly recommend making a client account and hiring out some of these small task items like thumbnail developments or maybe copywriting, things like that, where now you can get an understanding of what it's like to hire, and you can get an understanding of what the people sending proposals are like, look at other profiles, and you get something out of that because now they're building these nice thumbnails, your profile look attractive. It's like, it's compounding doing tasks like that. So I'm always saying to freelancers, hire other people, but also hire yourself, right? Like if you're a copywriter, spend time going through and making some nice copy. I've provided many examples of freelancers that do copy, and their profiles really hit it nicely, like much better than even my profiles in the past. So some great examples of there. But at the end of the day, the more relevant information, the better. And this is kind of new here. Again, this goes back to that full-time thing where it's asking, I'm open to contract to hire opportunities, start with a contract and later explore a full-time option with a client. So I would click this too, not because I want to do it, but again, we're trying to maximize the filter, okay? We want to get our face in front of as many people as possible. And so if we technically look at like a client posting a job, and if they did happen to only be interested in contract to hire opportunities, perhaps you're going to miss out on even making that connection, because clients change their minds. Like they may want that contract to hire opportunity now, but then they understand fractional work and they may want to steer clear of contract to hire, or they may meet you and just see that you're good at something and then make a whole new brand new job that wasn't even the thing in the first place. But I think if you create a wall and a barrier between even making that connection with someone that's potentially someone that can just pay you just like everybody else, like you're doing yourself a disservice. So now we're going to go to create a profile. And how would you like to tell us about yourself? We need to get a sense of your education, experience, and skills. It's quickest to import your information. You can edit before your profile goes live. So let's just quickly click that just to see what they say. Your Upwork profile is how you stand out from the crowd. It's what you use to win work. So let's make it a good one. They're exactly right. And so this is what's cool. You can import from LinkedIn, which if you have a really solid LinkedIn profile, then yeah, for sure do it. But again, I think that this is a different animal. I think LinkedIn is more or less like, hey, this is me. It's a social media platform. But the people in Upwork, the clients at least, that are searching out freelancers, it's more about their needs right now. Like they are high intent buyers. They have an emergency, and you need the person that's going to be able to help them with that, right? So right away, you need to get into what it is that you can do for the client. I just think that's super important. Sorry, the sun's blasting me in the face right now. Okay, so we can upload the resume too, but again, don't think that you want to maybe just make a resume. I think it reads a little boring. And then we can fill it out manually, which is what we're going to do, and cater ourselves to the platform that we're on, even if it takes a little more work. So we got it. Now add a title to sell the world what you do. It's the very first thing clients see. To make account, so make account. Stand up and describing your expertise in your own words. Okay, so notice how their example has these little lines, and we could put them in there too. Great to separate it. And again, each part of this is searchable. So list out, I would say, look at the sample they're giving. They're using software engineer. So that automatically presents itself as authority and who they are and what they do. So if you're not going to be an engineer, think of putting like expert copywriter or something like that. That's what I originally did at first. I think it was expert copywriter, but I was actually getting Photoshop stuff. But this isn't about me so much as it's the situation right now, because they're really looking for experts in the field. So expert designer, or I don't think I spelled that right. So make sure you don't do that, and make sure you have spelling. And then put a platform or Canva or something like that, and then maybe something else, landing pages, or something that's going to define you even more. And we can further, so there's 3 types of profiles, and as you'll probably see, I don't know if they'll allow us to do all 3 right now, but you get the main one, and then you get the sub categories. And I think that like each one should kind of be built out like this, and you want to utilize as much space as possible. And think of it again, if a client is posting this job, what do they see that's going to help them understand, like, oh, this is a person who at least knows how to do what I need. And so you have to present that in a cogent way right away. So we'll just put it like this, or and again, I think any kind of variation to this is doable. And if you guys are in the community now, feel free to comment in here, tell us what you think of your thinking about using as a headline, and we can definitely give some feedback for you if you're wondering how to make this. But don't get stuck spinning your wheels, but just make sure at the end of the day that the continuity is there. Like, this headline directly tells the client what you do, and then the bio should reflect that also as we go into the experience. So actually, this is the work experience. So this is going to be like more or less like your standard resume type of thing. So we'll just say, okay, head designer for marketing company. And then you would put in the company, the area. No, I don't think you really, again, if we're here, if you're watching this video, you're probably not going to be working there, but let's just put something quick. And then you could, again, everything you have to assume, even if it's not, is searchable, okay? So this, I would get as granular in any of these areas where you can and say exactly what you did. My daily tasks include designing and editing landing pages, utilizing Photoshop, Canva, Illustrator, and what are some other platforms that we could maybe use, and others to make professionally appealing content that we could use for ads and social media posts. So offering a little bit of context, offering some of the platforms. I don't want to bore you guys, but I don't think you need to stop right there, right? Like, I think the more you can get into it, the more maybe like you can actually use like a little story in here. If you are mentioning those platforms though, and a client comes along who needs help with Photoshop, they're going to assume that you're not lying about this and it's going to match up, right? There's other parts on the profile where they may see and be like, they may be lying, but this is gonna help. So putting that out there. Okay, cool. We could add more, and I do think that you should add as many as you have. We can add our education, which is definitely something you want to do, especially if you're from the US. I think that, I don't know, for some reason clients still like education, but they're not finding my Pennsylvania state. No? Oh, here we go. Boom. A degree, management, science, and information systems. Let's see if it's there. No. What about MSIS? Nope. I don't know why I got this major. MIS. I'm just going to put, sure, Master of Science in Project Management. Imagine. Okay, field of study, business. Okay. So that lined up, and then you just put the end date. So long ago. Oh, wait. 1999 to 2003. But I honestly think I'm like a fine wine. I get better with age, with more wisdom, more gray, more beard. Anyway, description, You could put a description, again, like anything is searchable, right? But it also could be some qualitative stuff that's nice for the clients to see. So I don't really have that many awards or anything like that. So, but if you did, you know, I think more power to you. Can't hurt, guys. Now, English, realistically, you're going to have a much easier time on the system if English is your primary language. So I would get the Duolingo out there and try to maximize what you can call yourself in terms of like your level. But yeah, native or bilingual is ultimately going to be something that you want to thrive for, because clients do need to be able to communicate with you. You know, there are positions that for sure we've hired, I've seen get hired, like, you know, where English is not their predominant. Most of our team, English is not their first language, right? But if it can be, it's going to help you, or at least calling yourself native or bilingual is definitely where you want to be. And I think that's going to, again, maximize that filter so you're getting as many inquiries as possible. Nearly there. What work are you here to do? So your skills show clients what you can offer and help us choose which jobs to recommend to you. Add or remove the ones we've suggested, or start typing to pick more. It's up to you. So start typing, because Upwork's going to start recommending more, but just start, honestly, fill up all 15. So, you know, putting this in there, Upwork should start doing it, but if not, start feeding it more information. So advertising design, so like advertising photography, start to niche in a little more, but based around the continuity of what you're doing. So maybe UI stuff, UI graphics, platforms, like you saw that Photoshop is there. Look, there's probably going to be Illustrator, right? Adobe Illustrator. Is there Canva? Canva. What are some other things? We can just type in design and start to come through. And we can start to think, okay, maybe 3D design, graphics user interface design. Can we niche in? Design writing, design mock-ups. We can think of like maybe wireframes, things like that. That's there. So we really want to fill up as much as possible. Again, what are we, an expert designer? So again, just kind of keep on thinking what would make sense to add. Design builder, 3D design. Sure, if you know how to do it, if you know how to use Illustrator. Now let's see maybe more landing page stuff, landing page design. Why not? That's gonna, again, expand out there. Maybe if we type in optimization, website optimization. Maybe if we're doing design on landing pages, we are optimizing websites and designs. And what are some other? Maybe if we know illustrating, we also know drawing. Maybe we know a little bit of marketing mixed with design. Is there anything like that? Marketing. We start to get. I mean, I would do more marketing stuff because that's me. But I'm trying to stick with what we are and what we put ourselves in as more of like a designer. So maybe landing page strategy, landing page optimization. So fill it up, guys. Really, because I see a lot of people that, again, we're bidding for jobs that like have none of these skills filled out, and that is what Upwork is using to properly line up and connect you guys with the clients. So fill that all up. Now here is the big part where I think a lot of people dropped the ball. And again, read what Upwork is kind of suggesting, because I think they know too, like what works. But I was just on a conference call last night with people at Upwork, and we were going through. I was with a couple other heavy hitters on the system, and they brought up the fact that like my bio doesn't look anything like the Samir who was joining us for the conversation. It looked nothing like his bio. And there's more than one way to skin a cat here, guys. But I think what I would like to see you do is something that's going to make a bold promise and cover that introduction at the same time. So an example can be like, you know, we're a designer, so we want to keep the continuity, right? And so I'm just trying to, sorry if this is going to get delayed a little bit, but you know, off the top of my head, let's say we want to go in strong and make an impact. I can help your designs pop, stand out better than, I can help your designs pop and stand out better than other designers because of my decade-long experience with building highly optimized landing pages, ad designs, and other useful and other marketing creative so I used to say like my name is Adam and these types of things, but yeah, the quicker we can get right into it, you know, I think that again we have to look at it from the perspective of the client. So right away, because the way it works, again, you guys are going to send your proposals, you're going to get like a paragraph to do that, and then they're going to click in and see your profile itself. So you don't want to be redundant. You don't want to say the same thing in the proposal as you do the profile, but you want everything to come back to the profile. That's your storefront. Like that's where everything that you can do should be contained. So I may switch up this bold promise, but we want to start with a bold promise, bold hook. Let them know that you're confident, because that confidence is going to translate into trust, and then they're going to give you a higher likelihood of responding. So make your bold promise, and then I would say back it up with information. So this could be through talking about situations that or platforms that you've worked with. I tend to list out a lot of the platforms that I work with and how, you know, and what we generally work on. So I think through that storytelling, they kind of know what I'm talking about, and then I'm constantly just sharing advice through it. So between listing out the platforms and what I do and everything like that, I'm just kind of telling a story, and it seems to work. I think that a lot of people feel like they need to be short and sweet here, but I feel like I'm wondering too if I can. Well, I'll share my profile in here so you guys can see it, along with like other really nice bios that have been eye-catching. I think that organizing is really nice. So along with backing it up with info, I tend to list out, but not in an annoying way. I use some emoticons, but I would say, you know, again, list out all of the things you do. So maybe the second paragraph is a little more story-based. So we do the bold promise, then we have to back it up with info using, you know, a story, and we can talk about specific things that you generally do, and then listing out the things that you do. Yes, it should be a list like that, but also like the platforms. And this could be like list. What I really don't like, guys, are fake testimonials, right? So that's like where it looks like a copy and pasted testimonial from maybe somewhere else. Like, don't do this, because it automatically appears like maybe they're just copy and pasting, and it's actually going to go in the negative direction versus what it should do and build authority and trust. It's doing the opposite. The reviews that make sense and are worth their weight in gold are their actual reviews that get published onto the profile. So what I don't like is testimonials, because it automatically makes it think that like you're trying to game the system. And what we don't want are people that game the system, because as clients, we want someone that's going to, you know, color between the lines as much as possible, because we're not going to be working with them directly. Like, they're going to be off on their own. So trust is a big thing. And I think by putting those testimonials in there, you do it. Too many emojis is crazy. And yeah, I think that you just want to avoid that. I've seen people go a little overboard, but I do think that organizing is nice. I drop a couple in there just for effect. But really, guys, you got 4,668 characters left out of this. So I think it's like, what, close to 5,000 characters. And I really do think, and again, I'll share some examples of how long I think the bios should be, which is use up all the real estate. I mean, you have it. And another thing, what I don't like is don't take the clicks away, right? So a lot of people will put maybe a portfolio link to a Behance or something. I don't know how to say it, but you get my point. They're trying to take them off Upwork. They go somewhere else. People have like crazy minds, TikTok brains. So like the moment they leave the Upwork site, they may get a call from their kid and you lost them. So I think to contain everything on the page, if you have the propensity to send them to a Behance, just make your portfolio better. Take the stuff from the Behance and put it on to the internal Upwork stuff. And we'll talk about the portfolio in a little bit, but yeah, guys, like don't steer them away from the profile. That where the magic happens is on the profile. They can hire you right from there. They can save your profile. They can thumbs you up. But what you don't want is that thumbs down. So use the real estate. Don't take clicks away. Don't use too many emojis. Don't use the fake testimonials. List out the things that you can do. The more the merrier. Back it up with information. The best way possible would be if you can have a compelling story and then start with a big, bad, bold promise. All right, what are the main services you offer? So this one, it's a little tricky sometimes because you sometimes don't, I mean, I'm usually spending time in the sales and marketing area. If I was in the design and creative, it's a little more cut and dry. But again, you really want to list out as many that are as applicable. And if you feel like you're too narrow, right? If you feel like you can only check one box, then this is one of those conversations you need to start having with yourself. How do I check more boxes? Do you think that I can maybe learn some, well, it's just, from a design perspective, design and creative, if I knew graphic and editorial presentation design, i.e. making slide decks, making landing pages,